So, coming up next is The Unknown Space. The Unknown Space Art Ensemble is Thomas Arganda and Alexzandre Salon. These two artists met in Delta College's, right here, radio television program in 2019, and then began a creative venture with no foreseeable end. Together, the two create art in visual, auditory, and written mediums. Among radio shows, sound collages, and short films, a staple of their work has been audio-visual collections of poetry. Giving them a chance to showcase all sides of their production, these are the intersection of film, music, and poetry. Most notably, So I'm Dying on Spider Island, and their most recent creature features. In their expansive catalog of work, the prime focus has always been on healing and coping, whether dealing with love, death, or the burden of growing up. Each of their projects is a personal piece created to vent artistically. Please welcome Unknown Space.
All right. Winter calls me to the sea. When my secret face is on and I'm down on my knees, the banshee surfaces to sing her ode to me. My head is heavy and my body is weak. Moon will vanish, sun will fade. Embrace the romance and our childhood games. Light is mine, and mine I need. Good night, island. Good night, sheep. Good night, captain. Good night, sleep. So, slide the eyes of the primitive creature. Open his sternum and see what lingers. There's an elderly man I need you to murder, and there are bones in my body I need you to shatter. Wake in ocean, all your tides. Bring this seaweed, I'll open my eyes. Ghost I'll linger, and creature I'll fold. Spring boy, don't bleed. Spring boy, don't sleep. Spring boy, don't leave. Spring boy, believe. But that was only a dream I had. Doesn't my mind say the strangest things? Like, what do you run from? Where do you lean? Will that rabbit find his lucky foot? Is your child out at sea? Did the kids turn out all right? Did the kids put up a fight? Will this winter end? Can these rules I made up bend? Is this where I ought to be? Estranged from humanity. I can't hear you anymore. 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 Your singing voice is gone. I met a magician from the valley the other day. His mystic letters flooded my brain with a gaze into what some would call a mistake. Any question I ever had was taken away. He wore a mask on the back of his head and offered to walk me around the hospital beds, where once beautiful bodies wither in disturbing ways. All I could see was the coming decay. A baby in a coma dreaming of his mother's breast. That girl he made eye contact with clutching a crucifix. A man holding his wife's hand pondering every little doubt. leaning in for one more kiss before he's asked to throw her out. The magician said this may be the solution, as I really like this illusion. My scars and contusions aren't to be mistaken for my confusion. I mean, I like these stories in these charming ways, and what a lovely base to rest my case. But what I really want is a less restricting place, with good silence away from any familiar face. Now we laugh and cry, and after quite some time we say goodbye to the only person who has seen the fear in my eyes. Any friend of yours is no friend of mine. The alchemy of reality severs my dreams. Now the boy I used to bleed brings tears to the stream. I run off into the garden seeking self-discovery, but all I could find are remnants of a name I dare not speak. Lightning crashes to bring the hazy gray. These nights find my head in an unfamiliar face. What I thought was grace withers into shame, and now you won't think twice about calling me when you get back to the valley.
But there's a place and a period of time where I found myself stuck in a place where a sky that gets darker every week. I'll never make it out in time. Lord, let me know mine end should I die where I stand, walking on needles inherited by me through someone else, walking to my world's end. I won't make it out alive. A sky that gets darker every day. I'll never make it out in time. Lord, let me know mine end. Should I die where he stood? Walk out the door and leave like the father I never had? Take my chances being haunted by the shadow of circumstance and kick in the door and beg to be taken back? I won't make it out alive. A sky that gets darker every hour. I'll never make it out in time. Lord, let me know mine end. Should I die where she stands? Eternally drowning in an ocean of nothingness? A breath of fresh air would be the life my grandmother never had. I won't make it out alive. Seemingly nowhere is where nothing goes. I wish I was born 100 years ago. But there I go again, asking questions I don't want the answers to. But I can't say that this is it, that they will be gone forever. To lose them now would be to lose myself. But for now, at least I can rest. At least now, not every memory and thought is haunted by them. But there will be a time where they come back louder and angrier. But I've done a good job silencing them. With help from sweet echoes of melodies, with comfort from the innocence of man's best friend, with suppression through substances that my body begs me to reject, and with this beautiful thing that we've created, I must admit I'm afraid of what will happen once we move on. I'm afraid they will be back sooner than I'd anticipated. I'm afraid I will fall into that pitch black void again, the void that is filled with regret, self-loathing, and fear. But I just have to remember all the good we did, all the hearts we touched, all who listened and agreed, and felt what we felt. To everyone who struggled along with us, to everyone who dreads and fears sleep at night, to everyone who stayed up with us, and to everyone who has been through hell and back, I say goodbye and thank you. I hope you hang on just a little bit longer, just as we have. I'm Alex, this is Tom Arganda. Thank you so much. We're Unknown Space Art Ensemble.
Okay, so I just have the one question for the two of you, because oftentimes when we think about words outspoken, we think about performance poetry, we think about solo voice, and the two of you are it takes more than one voice to tell a story sometimes. Can you talk a little bit about the value of trusting another person in the collaborative process?
That's a funny thing, because most friendships, you want to build it, when you start talking to somebody as a friend, it begins with what did you eat today? What are you doing tomorrow type thing. But we met each other in the Delta College radio television department, and we started a radio show that was basically a lot of deep thoughts, overthinking out loud. So in order for that to function, we immediately had to trust each other, and we immediately had to shamelessly vent to each other. And it's weird because it started off like that. Our most comfortable conversations were about our bad feelings and stuff. And then it felt awkward to ask, what did he eat for breakfast or something? But yeah, no, this trust started very early. So the value of that, I think, comes from the fact that we just did it shamelessly, vulnerably as well. And eventually now we're here still years later. Buddies.
And oftentimes, like when we first started, I would just write something and I was very uncomfortable as a writer, and I would look at Tom and he'd be a significantly better writer than I am, and he still is. And so I had to just write something and send it over to him and hope he knew what he was doing, and I feel like he did.
Okay. Thank you both. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
One more question. I think that you're kind of older than our previous performers, and both males.
Right.
What's the messaging that you put out there for young men your age that are struggling with mental health or substance use disorder? As most know, mental health is hard on everyone. It hits males different. What would you say?
I feel like it's a really tough question. I don't know, I feel like I struggled with substance abuse for a little bit, but I was by myself for a little while. And honestly, I got really lucky meeting Tom, because Tom gave me that outlet to really speak what I had in me. And I don't know, I guess the advice I would say is find your outlet. And it's really hard to find. I know it's very difficult to find, but I don't know where I'd be if I didn't find my outlet.
It also has to come like shamelessly, because I'm sure there's like a lot of guys out there that want to write poetry, but feel like it's kind of a non-masculine thing or something like that. But it is that kind of Band-Aid you have to just take off, especially if you're good at it too. Regardless if you're good at it or not, like, if you like doing it, just do it. Who cares?
Amazing, amazing fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to put in another plug in there regarding that. It's important that you're always seeking help and resources. No matter how you're feeling, making sure that you reach out. Again, we have that safe room, but if you are in a place where you don't know who to reach out to, if you have a mentor, a teacher, a friend, someone that you can talk to at that time, please do. If not, there's crisis lines, there's numbers. You can reach out to our, I believe we have a line that you can also connect with to provide you resources and support.